We chose adoption because that's God's heart for us, honestly. We felt like He was calling us to do it. Our daughter Madison is almost 14. Our son Matthew is 10. Nate is 7. Kia is 4. And Kalu is 16 months. The only way I can explain it is God really started working in my heart, and that started with when the Chapmans lost their daughter, and I really felt called to pray for them, and I didn't know them at the time, and just God used that to soften my heart towards orphans.
Well, that's when God intervened, and over the course of time, through a series of events, both in my life and Beth's life individually at the time, but then coming together, it became apparent to us that this was the next step in our marriage, the next step in our parenthood, the next step in our lives. I think God intervenes in your life sometimes when you think things are perfect, really right where it needs to be, to challenge you in your faith and as to who you are, and to get His message across in different ways.
Mike explained it well. He said to me, I feel like I'm standing on the edge of a pool and it's a really hot day and I want to jump in because I know it's going to be refreshing once I get used to it, but right now I'm just scared to jump because it's going to be shocking.
I told her I was fearful and I was standing on the edge of the pool, afraid to jump. And we talked about that, we prayed about that.
We knew and we struggled with it just because it doesn't make any logical sense. And it's one of those things that your head has to catch up with your heart, and you kind of have to just push your head to the point that you make that decision. And finally, at the end of the day, Mike, believe it or not, he sent me a text that said, call the agency, tell them we're in, hold my hand and let's jump. Our first 2 adoptions were really about us forming our family with God's guidance because we had infertility issues. Our second adoptions, or the second round of adoptions as we call it, was really more about God giving us His heart for orphans. We feel like God chose our children for us.
The agency came back and said that they had a 7-year-old boy, a 4-year-old boy, and a 4-month-old girl at the time for us to consider. And
we wrestled with the baby part.
Beth always wanted another infant. And so that was part of the referral process. And then, oh, by the way, Kalu, we found out was HIV positive.
We said, we'll pray about it. And within 12 hours, I really had a peace about that. And for me, that's how I knew that they were our children, because it's not something that I had planned on or looked for or thought we would ever do, but it really was something that we had a peace with very quickly.
Making these kinds of decisions are big decisions. You're talking about dealing with people's lives, not only your own, but the lives of children. And we did not take the choice in who we were going to actually bring into our home for the rest of our lives very lightly. We took that very seriously.
The first time we met our children was at the transition home, and you stand and they bring each family, they bring the children out.
For them to come down the steps and to hug us, and the joy of these are our children now, and that we're now charged to be their parents for the rest of their lives.
One of the reasons I think we were chosen to do this, or asked to do this by God, is we're in a position to tell others about it and to share our journey.
But we know that we were chosen for a reason, and that reason will become clear as we go through the next several years.
It's very cool to see God show up and how He provides. And Show Hope is one of the ways that He shows up in their lives by providing grants to people who otherwise would not be able to adopt.
Bloodwater Mission concentrates in Africa. They're focused on the HIV/AIDS crisis and the water crisis, which are the 2 leading causes of orphans in that continent. This organization has a purpose, and it's not just about building wells, it's about creating communities of hope.
There are millions and millions of orphans out there who need care. And there's a crisis in Africa with water and HIV that is causing more orphans every day. And we can make a difference.
Kalu means get the word out. And so that's one of the reasons that we're here at this function tonight, is to get the word out. The message that I want folks to leave with tonight, when everything's said and done, is that children are important in our lives. They're important to the future of our world, and they deserve an opportunity to have the best chance they can have to make something out of their lives.